Use your powers for evil.
Your evil is mine.
And hello, and welcome to another episode of Next Stop Everywhere, a podcast all about Doctor Who. Tonight, we are going to talk about yo-yos, posting photos online, gravity tests, and a new moon, not to be confused with a blue moon. I'm Jesse Jackson, and joining me is Charles Skaggs. Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jesse. Yes, I'm back, everybody, from
Yes,
my weekend hiatus.
Yes, we ended up having a very quick interview. Ended up not being very quick with Ken Spivey, but Charles wasn't able to make it. But Ken wants to come back after the convention in sometime in November, and so I told him that next time Charles would join us, and because it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, I thought you really did a really excellent job talking to Ken, and it was really interesting. And Ken had some really touching stories to
Yeah,
share.
so if you haven't checked it, it really is really cool to listen to, talking about his father and music and how he got into Who. Was made for pretty good stuff, and a very cool Peter Davidson story
Yeah.
that I knew you would get a kick out of
Oh, yeah.
since that's your doctor.
I can always I can always appreciate a good Davison story, and
Hmm.
appreciate them even more when they're positive. So
Yes,
yeah, great.
absolutely. So tonight we're going to talk about Kill the Moon, and this is the sixth episode of this?
Seventh.
Seventh, okay.
Yeah, we're over halfway point now.
Wow. Doesn't seem possible, but I guess so. Quick thoughts, Charles?
Quick thoughts. Let's see. I thought this episode was very. I had a lot of potential or a lot of hopes for this episode because it started off so creepy, and with going to the moon, and you've got spacesuits, and it had a very aliens vibe to it. Especially when you've got like little spidery creatures like jumping on your face and things of that nature. And then the episode kind of shifted into something completely different in tone, and became a much more like just interesting character ethical dilemma drama. So, in one instance, I'm a little disappointed because we didn't get that full creepy episode. But the ethical dilemmas involved are always interesting, and it's with all these like moral complications and ambiguities that make this show so interesting to me.
I liked it more than I did last week's. And I did think it was almost two different episodes, as you've talked about, where we had a pretty cool monster of the week. Something isn't what it seems to be, and then it kind of switches over, and it's, I won't say retcon, you know, how did the doctor not know? And have they established in the past that there's gray areas he can't see? But and and I but I ended up liking the episode a great deal. Both parts of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you
Well,
about it.
well, good, since we're here. That works out great.
Exactly. Um, so tell me your thoughts, Charles, on young Courtney.
Uh,
Do you think the doctor did tell her she wasn't special?
Um, I think it's possible. I mean, he could have just, with the doctor, he could have just been, just an offhand comment, just, thrown off the cuff, just, dismissing her perhaps. But I think the doctor actually likes Courtney because if you notice, he doesn't protest really hard about taking her in the TARDIS. And
Right.
he even says like, "Hey, you want to go to the moon? You want to be the first woman on the moon? Let's go." And so,
Mm-hmm.
they end up on the moon. And so, yeah, if the doctor didn't want her there, she would not be there.
Yeah.
And like I said in our last week's podcast, that I think the Doctor has a soft spot for these types of troublesome, like just kind of like girls or even just characters or people that have these little anti-authority issues that I think he respects that. And so, yeah, I don't think he has a problem with Courtney at all, really. He's just playing it up because he's that kind of, his persona has to be this, like, I don't like anybody, or, humans annoy me sometimes, and this kind of gruff exterior, or, just that kind of standoffish, set apart from humanity that, that defines this Doctor.
Do First off, I thought it was pretty cool that she stole his psychic paper and was using it to cause problems. I thought that was really cool. Um, do you think this is a persona he is taking on, or this is just in this regeneration, he's just grumpy for some reason?
Um, It could be a bit of both. I think he is naturally grumpy in the sense, but um, he's been that way before, like with William Hartnell, John Pertwee, Tom Baker had a lot of people want to picture him as this kind of like kooky bohemian, but he said a lot of like, really, he had a very cold approach to humanity sometimes, and then with Colin Baker's Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, there's this kind of alien detachment that
Mm-hmm.
I think that Capaldi and Moffat wanted to bring back with this Doctor. Now the question is about whether that's being overdone and whether it's turning off too many fans because of that, because it's not a cute, warm, fuzzy, oh, cute young Doctor with funny, spiky, flippy hair. And this one's a little harder to connect with. And actually, for me, that kind of makes this Doctor more endearing because of his inability to relate to humanity and having that alien detachment.
Okay. Um, yeah, I think that it's very interesting seeing his interaction. And every once in a while, I catch myself trying to picture one of the other actors in this script. One of the things going around at conventions now, which I love, is having some of the past doctors read some of Matt Smith's
Yes,
monologues.
those are great.
And I tried to picture if Tennant or Smith, would have done this kind of episode, how would it have come out?
When it,
And I
Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say that real quick, that this episode, from what I read online, was actually written for Matt Smith's Doctor originally, but and was rewritten for Capaldi's 12th Doctor. So I think it actually suits Capaldi's Doctor better
Hmm.
than it would have Matt Smith's.
I do. Yeah, I think it could have worked though, and um, I did really, really love his when they show up in the shuttle and they meet the three astronauts. He almost is acting Matt Smithish,
Hmm.
the kind of silliness.
With
So I did not know
the
that.
gravity test.
Yes, the gravity
Yeah.
test. Very
And
silly.
I actually saw this more
And
Tom Baker, but that's because
you think so?
well, it's because I'm an older fan. But
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I could definitely see Matt Smith doing the same
Hmm.
shtick too.
Um, it, the and he does have the great line that I might be able to help you. Um, so and we get a yo-yo, which, according to a little break, is a Tom Baker thing,
Yeah,
right?
yes, it is. Yeah,
Do you want to share a little
well,
bit?
it wasn't constant, but just every so often you'd see Tom Baker playing with a yo-yo, or or
Hmm.
something like that. It wasn't one of his gimmicks. Not like Patrick
Okay.
Troughton's recorder, or it was just like every so often you'd see it, and he'd be playing with, like, if he was waiting around for somebody to walk in the door, he'd be playing with a yo-yo, or just to mess with one of like if he's having one of those villains like monologuing on him, and just to mess with them, he'd be playing with it like completely like I'm not intimidated by you whatsoever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting. I love the spaceships. We've seen the space suits. We've
Yeah,
seen the orange space suits kind of a lot this
yeah, we
season.
are.
And I guess the TARDIS has the capability to create one so that it's small enough for Courtney.
Yeah, apparently they
Uh,
can clone them now, because
yes, and then
he used to have just one that he kept,
yeah,
over from the Impossible Planet, and then it's just
yeah,
kind of carried over. And now there's like one for Clara, there's one for Courtney, and whoever shows up.
and Courtney being 25, I thought that was a pretty funny line. That
35.
yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah,
35. It's
yeah,
like, no,
he's
she's
like
14.
yes. The We find out that humans have stopped going to space and that there's something wrong with the moon. Now, here's for those of you who are playing the drinking game at home or the Next Stop Everywhere
Got my
bingo,
drink right here.
this will get a thing. Ken Schaefer, good old Ken, hi Ken,
Again.
and I, when we went to lunch, he talked about that it seems that this doctor has really become a lot better driver, or the TARDIS seems to be having a lot better sense of direction. One of the consistencies in the past eras is that, the famous Neil Gaiman line, right? You didn't always take me where I wanted to go. And
Yep.
the TARDIS answers, but I always took you where you needed to
Right.
go. They seem to be, he can land the TARDIS in her bedroom. He can get her to within 15 minutes of her date. Um, so I was a little surprised when they were going to go to the moon, they ended up in the shuttle. So because this season, it does seem like they've had a little better GPS, for the lack of a better
Yeah.
word. Any thoughts on that?
Um, Eccleston and Tennant's doctor seemed to drive the TARDIS pretty well. I think it was only really brought back with Matt Smith's doctor that the idea that they could end up anywhere because of pilot error or the TARDIS steering you somewhere you didn't want to go. Um, but like I think Sylvester McCoy's doctor had no problems piloting it. Not sure so much about the others. Um, I think it just depends on the needs of the story. If the doctor really
Okay.
needed to be somewhere, hit it right the first time because it's there's a doomsday clock or something, that
Hmm.
yeah, he's gonna hit it. But if
Okay.
there's time, like if you want to start off a story like, oh hey, we were supposed to go here, like to Vegas or something, but we're off on Metabolus 3. It's just something like that.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense to me. Um, and I think the TARDIS, and to explain it in story terms, I think the TARDIS is intelligent enough to know when she needs to let him be very accurate and when she has the leeway to be more flexible, shall we
Yeah,
say.
or it just could be her messing with his, like maybe he puts in the right coordinates, but she kind of changes them.
Right, because she
She,
knows something
yeah, she
else.
sees something else or wants him to investigate this instead.
Yes.
It's like, no,
Hmm.
you're not going to go on holiday on the Eye of Orion
Hmm.
again. You're going to go over here. That kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I did love Courtney butchering Neil Armstrong's famous
Yeah, that was
quote.
great, wasn't
Yes, it
it?
was really good. Now, I have a small nitpick.
Hmm.
Um, so they all marched together to go to the Mexican mining
Right.
part. And then right before, they send the guy back to where they just came to prep the bombs. Like, what? Did I just need the exercise? I mean, Why didn't she have him stay there right away?
Well, there's a number of things in this episode that you're not quite sure why things happened the way they happened. But, like as you like to say, so you're so fond of saying, there's a lot of hand waving going on. And this episode, there's a lot of hand waving going on. But yeah, I noticed that as well, and I thought that was pretty amusing.
So, what'd you think of the creature?
You mean the creature that popped out of the egg? Oh, the
Bacteria.
bacteria. Well,
Yes, the bacteria.
you mean the spiders that apparently aren't
Yes.
spiders? They're germs. Well, they're
Hmm.
no, they're spiders. They're just alien moon spiders that you know,
Alien moon spiders. I
yep,
like that.
they're alien moon spiders that were, yeah, okay, maybe they were, acting as like a defense mechanism for the organism inside the moon, but they're alien moon spiders. Come on, let's just call it what it is, because the spiders have been appeared on Doctor Who before. This isn't his first run in. Like, speaking of Metabolus 3, there was the eight legs giant spiders that took out the third Doctor in the episode Planet of the Spiders, and then there was like the Rachnos and the Runaway Bride. So the Doctor has kind of an issues with spiders, and it doesn't always end good for those spiders.
Yes.
Because you
Um,
notice nobody
no,
seemed upset about when the spiders died when the moon hatched.
no, they didn't at all. I mean, they aren't is it isn't as bad as Kevin
Hmm.
Smith and the famous spider,
Oh
that's supposed
yes,
to end Superman.
yeah. His
But yes,
that
that ended up being in the Wild Wild
Yeah,
West.
because producer John
Yes,
Peters wanted a giant Superman to fight a giant spider in Kevin
yes,
Smith's Superman movie that never happened. So we can all be
right,
glad that it never happened, because even for, there's been some less than appealing Superman films, but I don't think we needed to see that. And considering how Wild Wild West movie turned out, it was probably a really
right.
good thing that movie never happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like the creature a lot. I thought it had a creepy sound. I thought it looked good. It was alien
Yeah.
looking enough. It was, I was pretty
It
happy
was a
with
genuine
it.
threat, and I wanted to see more of them. I wanted to
Yes.
see the Doctor going like really deep into where all those spiders were, and like, this facing this like
Mhm.
giant spider queen or something. Because if you're going
Yeah.
aliens, you might as well go all out and have a
Right.
giant spider queen where he's got to have a showdown
Yeah.
and take her out, and therefore takes out all the spiders. But that never happened. So I was a little let down by that.
Absolutely. I have a theory that asking the doctor who made him
Hmm.
boss is going to be a thing in this as long as Peter Capaldi is doctor. David Tennant was sorry. I'm so very sorry. I just we've heard that a couple of times, it seems like. And I thought it was very funny this time when instead of arguing, he says, "Then you can say
Hmm.
run."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was glad
um,
to hear those classic lines. When I say run, run, because
yes.
that's a Doctor Who catchphrase that has been around forever. So I just love hearing those words, no matter which Doctor is saying it.
Mhm. We also had an example of Chekhov's
Hmm.
yo-yo, which is always good to see. That we got we actually see the yo-yo several times this episode, where he uses it as if he was Indiana Jones of the bullwhip, and then using it to check that it's not water, but it is amniotic
Right.
fluid. Um, and I liked they caught. I didn't catch this the first time, but watching it the second time was, when he can't tell them, Clara's like, well, of course the moon doesn't explode. And the doctor is, well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. And she said, but the moon's up there. I've been to the future.
Hmm.
And he says, well, maybe it's a painting. Maybe it's a special effect. Maybe it's a totally
Yeah.
new moon. It's a
It's a
different moon, which I thought was really funny considering what we find out
right.
afterwards.
Yeah. Just after that moon cracks open, um, that then there's this suddenly like there's a new moon, and they're just right
Yeah.
ready to replace it. So it's like, hey, don't freak out, even though like the science of like a moon cracking open and a new moon popping into existence as to replace it, I would think that would have some effect on the whole gravitational orbital physics of the universe, or at least as far as Earth's orbit. And that the science on that, even for Doctor Who, because I know Doctor Who isn't nowhere near close to being hard science. Even for Doctor Who, I thought that was a little dodgy.
That is definitely a hand wave. And I did love the telling Courtney he can't post photos of him online, and the interaction. If she gets scared, they're gonna put her somewhere safe, and then later she wants to come back to help make the hard decision. Um, so let's get to the discussion. I thought for a 45-minute TV show, they did a pretty good job of debating the right of, preemptive
Hmm.
killing. That, is this an imminent danger or not,
Yeah, there was definitely, and a lot of people noticed it online, that there was a heavy abortion subtext to this episode. Because on the one hand
Mhm.
you had the doctor being pro-life, as he's always pro-life, because he wants, even he's had moments where he could have killed the Daleks and created them or prevented them from ever being created, but he's chosen to let them live. So, and then you had, on the other hand, you actually have the doctor a lot like leaving the choice, which is okay. Yes, it's a heavy-handed metaphor, but the doctor leaves the choice up to women to decide the fate of humanity, or at least the fate of the creature inside the moon. So yeah, yeah, it was a little heavy-handed, but you know, the really good, Star Trek used to do that all the time in the original series. So if it makes some people uncomfortable, so be it. But I think it's great that these kinds of issues get discussed, because that's proper science fiction.
Absolutely, and I thought it was, um, after the fact, it's okay to say, well, they made the right decision, but you didn't know beforehand. And I thought that the spaceship captain was making good points. We don't know what's going to
Right.
happen. The chunks of the moon flying to the atmosphere could do the dinosaurs all
Hmm.
over again. What will this creature want that's so
We don't
huge?
know, and it
Um,
and
we
the
don't
doctor's not
know.
telling.
Yes. Um, and I would like to think that I would have turned my lights
Hmm.
on if I had been in that world, but I am realistic enough to know that I don't know what I would have
And
done.
yeah, you don't
You
really
know?
know and for sure until you're actually in that situation. I mean, because here we are, we're just sitting in front of our TVs watching it. So it's a lot easier
Yes.
to armchair quarterback that and say, "Oh yeah, I would have totally done this, or I would have totally done that." But
Yeah.
I did notice that, as far as the story standpoint, um, Clara, offering this choice up to the planet Earth of like, hey, turn your lights on or turn your lights off if you want this, you want to vote up or vote down this creature. Call your 900 number right now. But
Yes.
um, here's the thing, though, like you're only gonna see the lights from people on the dark side of the Earth, and
Yes.
even then, it's like only the people with electricity, or at least the people controlling the electrical grids, are actually having the
Mhm.
vote here. It's not just the whole. It's not the whole planet.
Yes.
It's only like a certain segment of the planet.
And you're right, like if the electrical grid
Yeah.
guy goes, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
we're
Yep.
voting no." Yeah, this is not my favorite American Idol. That's I had not thought about. That's pretty interesting. I did love the line, "You can't blame a baby for
Hmm.
kicking," which kind of puts in um, the right to life,
Yeah.
pro-choice
Yeah. We don't want to get too
debate.
heavy into that, but
Um,
yeah.
no, not at all. But it was, and I realized that our friends in the Twitterverse picked up on this, and I think there was a very rampant discussion on
Yeah, I
this.
noticed that some fans just, because they're just either just opposed to any kind of serious issue being discussed on their
Yeah.
or their little time travel show, um, that they had a
Hmm.
problem with it. And like, I can't deal with boo on Doctor Who for bringing this up, or or just that how could they be pro this or how could they be pro that? And so therefore I'm enraged and upset and outrage. So, you can't
Hmm.
please everybody. And yeah, this is the kind of, especially when you're dealing with this kind of subject matter, you're not going to please everybody. But by the same token,
Right.
you can't just like, okay, I'm going to like just throw this entire show out because it actually made me think. So
Hmm.
that's my take on it anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Um, what I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see a clear picture
Hmm.
of the creature. I would have liked to seen it. I guess it's good. It's to our imagination. We also didn't get to see the chicken lay the egg because we were focused on the doctor and him talking
Yeah.
about mankind
Yeah, that was a
exploring.
pretty quick new moon there. Just like I said, just popped right in
Yes,
there,
it
didn't it?
was. Yes.
Like magic.
Um, yes. And I also was a little, really, doctor, you can't take the astronaut to NASA? You're going to point, yeah, 2.5, thousand
Yeah.
miles that way. That was a little silly. Um, the so anything else about the creature you want to discuss or the debate?
No, I think that was pretty good. I think that covered it.
Okay. So Clara's
Yeah.
upset. Tell me tell me why you think she's
Well,
upset.
my take on it was that okay, she's upset because the doctor just uncharacteristically, in my opinion, stood back and is like, "Okay, I'm not dealing with this. See you later. You figure it out. I'll be back when you do." And because typically, and this is where Um, I think the writer, Peter Harness, because he's brand new to Doctor Who, I don't think he really gets the idea of the Doctor's character because the Doctor is traditionally a Mr. Interference. If something's going on, he's butting in and like, okay, we're going to do this, or you guys should do that, or how dare you do this. He's usually like has an opinion on something. So it's kind of weird to see him just like, nope, not going to do it. It's all yours.
Yeah. Yeah, the doctor is very much the anti-prime
Hmm.
directive.
Oh yeah.
He believes this is his place is
He's
to
James
go in
Kirk.
there and shake
He's
things
Ja-
up. Yes.
yeah, he's definitely more Kirk than Picard in that regard, if you want to put a Star Trek
Mhm.
metaphor on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just met, like I said, maybe it's just the writer, but I didn't. I saw the doctor. I didn't really see the doctor's character being portrayed very accurately because it just seems so. Even with this newer doctor, that yeah, he's more standoffish. I was just like, why are you? But why is he stepping back? Because especially when he knows, or maybe just because he knows, that's why he's stepping back. I don't know.
So do you think he did know what the
I
outcome was
think
going to
so,
be?
but I don't know why he
Okay.
wouldn't just like, okay, everybody calm down because it's going to be fine when that thing hatches. So it's hard to say. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We don't know. It's left up in the air, or maybe it's just like, it's hard to say. I mean, it could have just been a story flaw that like, yeah, he knows, and that's why he kept quiet. But you'd think he would say, okay, it's not going to be the end of the world if this thing hatches. So I don't know. It was frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. Um I do agree that I think he knew, but it truly was, like Clara talked about, almost a
Hmm.
test. It's like when your spouse knows the answer but asks you the question anyway to see if you'll lie. Um, the I just was, and I agree with Clara. I would be kind
Hmm.
of ticked that, okay, what if I hadn't done this test? What if I had gone with fear? Because remember, fear is a
Hmm.
superpower. We've established that this
Nice
season.
callback.
Uh, what if I had said, no, I'm I'm going to be, I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to be, and not conservative in the political, but, the upside. I know if we destroy the creature that we won't have to face these bad things. Versus by leaving the creature to chance, I have the ability. It could go good or it could go bad.
Well, let me
So,
throw this out for you.
um,
Do you think the
okay.
doctor was deliberately um, putting Clara in this position to prepare her for something down the road? Like you're gonna be like maybe at some point she's gonna have to need to make a really hard decision, and she needs to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So do you think he's prepping her for something?
It could be. It could be I thought that, Courtney, maybe she needed to go through this because of what her future is. Though I do not understand how a British citizen becomes
Well,
American
there's
president, but,
I mean, she could, for all we
um,
know, she could have been born in America. But I personally think the doctor was
right.
just winding her up and just like, oh yeah, you're going to be president. Yeah, right. Just wink, wink.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't. So I don't think. I mean,
Um,
yeah, they had a female president in
yeah.
2049, according to the episode.
Yes.
But it may not be Courtney. I mean, it could be. And like I said, maybe
Mhm.
she's
Yeah.
a was
Mhm.
born in America and then moved to England, which is why she has an English accent. But who knows?
Mhm. Yeah, so I think it could be your theory that he knows something important is coming
He's
and he knows that she's going to be challenged and he wants to try to help her get ready for those
he's been a
decisions.
manipulator in the past, especially in his seventh incarnation. So
Yes.
that it wouldn't be too unexpected, or it shouldn't be too unexpected to say that okay, maybe he's setting something up,
Mhm.
especially with Moffat
Yes.
writing or being at the helm. So yeah,
Yeah,
this there could be
absolutely.
a payoff down the road.
Yeah.
We don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if there is.
So the episode um almost ends, not the end, but almost ends with Claire breaking
Yeah.
up with the doctor. She's like, get over, go away. I don't need you.
Well, considering we've seen pictures
Um,
of her in later episodes, I don't think that's going to last much longer.
no, I don't think so. And I think
They're taking a
very
break.
actually, yeah, yeah, we're on a break. Uh, that Danny is saying, when it's not over as long as you can still get
Hmm.
angry at the person.
But you notice
So,
Danny's like right there going, "Oh yeah, baby, yeah, you were totally
yeah,
right. You showed him, you told him."
yes,
So,
yeah. But and he did say, tell
hmm
him when you're calm and
right.
then tell me. So, I was I thought it was a good episode. I do agree with you. It twisted kind of at
Hmm.
the halfway point, but I'm happy with both sides. Last week I thought there wasn't enough substance. This one, I think there was. I think there was. I could have gone with
Hmm.
just more monsterish, and I could have been okay with more of
Right.
just a dilemma. But them blending
Well,
it
good.
together worked for me.
Yeah, I think overall it did
Yeah,
for me too. But I'm still little let down that I didn't get a full creepy monster episode because I want them so badly.
and you really did
Yeah.
think you were
I mean
getting that
the
last week when we
trailers are
talked about
definitely like
this.
implying that, and the
Hmm.
beginning of the
Yeah,
episode certainly implies that. So when you that kind of shift gears, you're like, oh, really? Okay, so
yeah.
at least for me.
All right. So yes. Anything else before we go to lines of the
Yeah,
episode?
just noticed a few things like when the doctor was talking about Courtney being the first woman on the moon. It's like, well, okay, apparently she's the first woman on the moon after Martha Jones and Smith Jones. And
Yes. Uh
Polly,
huh.
his first doctor companion, she ends up on the moon, but only like 21 years set in the future after Kill the Moon in this episode called The Moon Base. But but yeah,
Hmm.
I was just like, well, what about Martha? Hello, that was like 2007. So and the and then I'm wondering, okay, well, why did if the doctor was just going to take Courtney to the moon, why was there this, 35-year jump from 2014 to 2049? Again, that could
Yeah.
have been the TARDIS messing with him, or he knew.
Or he knew that
Yeah,
this
exactly.
was supposed to
Well, you
be.
said with the
Um,
moon, but you didn't
but it,
specify when.
yeah,
So, yep.
right. I also think it could be the whole. Um, I like how you're thinking of this. That the moon is the doctor's go-to,
Well, one of them.
place when he's,
Yeah.
trying to impress a
Hey, you
young
want to check out
lady.
the
It's
moon?
like,
I can show
hey,
you the
hey,
moon.
come to me. Yeah, yeah. Fly me to the
Thank you, Frank
moon.
Sinatra.
Anything else, sir?
Yeah, I was wondering, like,
Yes.
if that shuttle from the museum that they used was that the Enterprise? We did.
Could
We didn't see
be.
because
That would be
I actually looked.
cool.
It took it like I had it on like a DVD recording off the TV, and I paused it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it just says United States. And I'm sure that was deliberate because they
Hmm.
don't want to specify which shuttle it was, but I'm wondering if it was the Enterprise.
Right. Could have been.
And
Very
then let's
cool.
see. Notice that when they were talking about Courtney posting pictures on Tumblr, and then Lundvik, that was Hermione Norris's character. She's like, saying that her grandmother posted on used to post on Tumblr, and I'm thinking it's only 35
Yes.
years in the future. How could your grandmother have posted? I mean, unless you had
Yes.
your mother had you really young, and her grandmother had your mother very
Right.
young, really young. So the
Yes.
timeline
Yeah.
didn't seem to work for me. It was a
Yes.
funny
But it was
line,
a
but
funny line. But yes. But when you look at it
that's
that way,
that's one of those
yes.
nitpicky Doctor Who
Absolutely.
fan things. And then we got
Yes.
the kill Hitler
Hmm.
argument again. So that's kind of like a callback to
Yes.
the episode with River
Uh,
Song of Let's Kill Hitler.
yes.
And then
Hmm.
talking about Clara having dinner in 1937 Berlin with him, and they didn't kill Hitler then. So again, that
Right.
feeds into that argument about the whole debate about whether to kill the creature or not.
Yes.
Um, and then let's see that we talked about Danny referenced once again his bad day, but we don't know what that bad day is. So
Right.
that's pretty much what I noticed.
Okay, good. I
Oh,
think we covered
and no
everything
Miss Ear
on
said
mine.
in this
Yes.
time. So
No, we we did not get anything about the possible afterlife. So not even a
nope, not
mention
even
this
mentioned.
time, right?
So it's totally
Yeah.
backburnered.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Okay.
Do you
Line
want to go first because you always
of the
get on my
episode?
case for stealing your lines?
Well, I'm gonna not go with the
Okay.
alien line. But so I'm gonna go with the end. Danny saying, "How did you
Hmm.
get so wise?" And Clara said, and he said, "Like everyone else, I had
Yep.
a really bad day," which I thought was very true. That it is usually your bad days that
Hmm.
teach you things. I often, when I interview someone for a job in my day job, I ask them, we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. What is the best advice you've given, constructive criticism you've received for someone, and why is it so significant? So
Well, that's a
that's
that's
going to
a
be
that's a
my
great
line.
line. Good pick. My line has to be at the end where Clara is telling the doctor, "Tell me what you know, doctor, or else I'll slap you so hard you'll regenerate."
That was my
then I
backup.
then I also then I also like
Hey, if you
Courtney's
had picked
line,
that,
"One small thing for a thing, one enormous thing for a thingy thing."
yes. And I do have to say this because I kept having to hit rewind, rewind, because I think I just might possibly be able to help you see I am a super intelligent
You
alien
gonna
who
shoot
flies
me?
in time and space. Yeah, okay, you're gonna shoot me. We established that he thinks he
Yeah,
has
yeah,
unlimited
that's one good point that
regenerations
I
too.
forgot to think about. But yeah, they just left that open. Like, okay, maybe he doesn't regenerate only 12 times again. Maybe he can just keeps on regenerating, and maybe the
Yeah,
doctor doesn't even know how long he's got. So yeah, that could
Right.
be an easy way to get around another regeneration limit.
Mhm. Yes, when he got the massive regeneration, it's kind of it's
Yep.
the regeneration of holding.
So it's really good news for the
Good.
26th Doctor.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's
Uh,
rate our episodes.
okay.
And I will go first. I'm going to give it 8 ugly
Nice.
polka dotted shirts. I think that shirt was horribly
Yeah,
ugly.
I mean, I get where it's, it was, I mean, it was black and white, so it wasn't like gaudy color, like certainly wasn't in Colin Baker's level,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't the best because I really like the solid dark shirts with, his coat, like black
Yes,
or
I do
gray or
too.
whatever, or dark blue, but navy blue, but yeah, that
Mhm.
polka dotted, white polka dots on black I wasn't feeling it. So totally agree. So well
Okay.
done there.
Good.
I rated the episode, and just
Okay.
as like I said, this is just because I didn't get the creepy episode I was wanting so desperately. I rated it 7 out of 10 moon spiders.
Ah. So I was going to go to yo-yos, but I thought you might. So good. So I want you to know that I am right now hitting
Hmm.
copy, and in the little Skype box,
This is
and I'm
behind the
going
scenes, kids.
to you can't yes, you can't see what I'm typing, but you can
Uh,
see that I'm
kind,
typing, right? It
kind
shows
of.
Jesse typing. Yeah,
Actually, I don't have
shows a
that.
little pencil. Yes.
Let me do the.
The little it looks like the
Let me
word
click on that.
balloon icon.
Yes. Okay. Now I see it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You're
So
throwing
I
me
am putting
curveballs here,
this
Jackson.
beforehand because no, I am going to guess what episode we're doing
Okay.
reverse the polarity on
All right. Yeah, that's a good.
for
Right.
first time ever. So, Charles,
Well, don't you want to give me
what's
your
your
guess first?
recommendation?
Oh, okay.
No, because that's what I want to
Oh, okay.
show that I
All
haven't
right.
influenced you
Okay.
or anything.
Now, originally I
Yes.
was gonna go with the Waters of Mars, but
Yes.
however,
Oh no.
it was a good guess. I
Yes.
was gonna go with that, but I'm actually gonna go with. We're gonna just take a quick hop back to 2010 for the Beast Below from Series 5, which was Matt Smith's second episode, written by Stephen Moffat. Because this was an episode where you had a mystery, like the Doctor takes Amy on her first trip into outer space, and they end up aboard the Starship UK. And the Doctor and Amy learn that over the course of the episode, they learn that adults. I'm gonna. I'm.
Don't spoil it.
It's
Don't
the episode's been
okay,
around
aren't
since
gonna you're
2010.
gonna
There are
spoil
no
it?
spoil.
No, I'm just saying though, if they haven't seen it though, I think that's a great reveal. So anyway, go ahead.
There are no
What
spoiler
what I'm
warnings
telling you.
after
I
2010.
that I- this is one of my favorite episodes. I love
Well, all
that
right. Let me phrase it in less
episode. I
spoilery
love
fashion. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
There's
Queen
that
Elizabeth,
basically there's a very ethical dilemma where you've got
yes.
something that's being held in captivity, okay, and it's being tortured,
Yes.
and that
Right.
yeah, for supposedly
For supposedly a
yeah,
greater good.
and the Doctor is
For
forced
a
to
greater good.
choose
Yeah.
between saving humans or saving this mystery spoiler warning thing. And okay,
Yeah. Okay,
and
that's vague enough that
and
they'll
then
get a feel for
there's like an
yeah.
argument between the Doctor and Amy, just like there was between Clara and the Doctor, or the 12th Doctor, that for because Amy chooses to forget about this thing. And well, this is really tricky trying to like
mhm.
I want to talk about this episode because it's so good. But that yeah, so you've got this huge ethical dilemma that kind of like was echoed in Kill the Moon.
I had not thought of that. I had thought of Water of the Mars for the it is just by far the most
Yeah.
quickly
Hmm.
thinking because
You had a
it's,
female
it's in
captain, and so
spaceships,
yeah, I totally.
it's creepy, it's yeah, in
Hmm.
fact, I think the two actors from the leads looked
Right.
the both female captains looked similar to each other to me. So I really did, but I totally agree with you. This is a better
Yeah.
episode because they do have
Thank you,
more in
sir.
common. So well
So
done,
dig
sir.
in.
Well done. Yes. If you
Yes,
have
watch
time,
both. Both are
yes.
definitely
If you have
recommended.
time, watch
Although,
both.
yeah, make sure you watch Waters of Mars first.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Very cool. Okay. Let's see. Uh, I don't think we have any feedback.
No,
We,
no, but we are getting a few more likes on the Facebook page. So well done there, guys. So
yes.
we could always use more. So if you've got
Yes, we can.
So you like, invite your friends. If you already liking the page, invite your friends to like the page. Or if you're not, shame on you. So,
Hmm.
you bad fans, naughty, naughty, whatever.
And yes, and there was a little inside baseball. Our version of the ratings came out. We get them once a month. And we did okay by ourselves.
Yeah, we're 3 times what we were last month.
Yes.
So
And so thank you very much for that. That is very rewarding. A lot of people listening to us
so keep spreading the
and
word.
it, yes, please. That is, we are thinking about it. That's one of the reasons why not only did I just love talking to Ken, but I wanted to try to get that his fans maybe would have a chance of listening to us and like what they hear.
Yeah, I would love it if
So,
we could get like a truck band, because
yeah,
I'm a more of like, I know that Ken Spivey was more of a like folksy Renaissance fair
yes.
background, so I would like a more
Hmm.
actual like truck, Time Lord rock band.
Yes,
Because that's
I
that's kind
agree.
of like my thing. I want to hear some guitars, like electric guitars, and
Yes,
so that's kind of more
that
that's
would
more in
be
my field
good.
because I've got a like a really heavy punk alternative new wave background. So I'm all about
Yes,
that. And yeah, if there's any bands out there that want to feature on the show, yeah, let us know and we'll try and hook something up.
absolutely. Um, Anything else we need to cover, Charles?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Really good episode. It's been a good season.
Yeah, I think a much
Are we
stronger
getting,
season than last year, in my opinion.
yeah. Are we and it's 13 plus the Christmas
Actually, no,
special?
because of I think BBC cutbacks, we're only 12
Okay.
plus the Christmas special this year. So there are only
Okay.
5 episodes left. And then the Christmas
Wow.
special, and then the long
Okay.
wait for season
Yes.
9.
Yes, the long,
Yeah.
long wait. But we will be doing some rewatches and some theme stories, and we will not
Yeah, well,
desert you, Whovians. We will be
yeah.
here for you.
It's a good place. It's a good time to get in between those little hiatuses that it's a good time to go back to the past or the future or whichever that and explore those old
Absolutely.
episodes because especially since Jesse probably hasn't seen them. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really interested on your
Uh,
perspective, and I know that our friend Karen
yes.
Lindsay has been dying to have you watch old episodes. So
Yes.
so we need to gang. We're going to gang up and peer pressure you into watching these old episodes
Absolutely. I also want to see
in a friendly way.
yes, I also think it would be
Minor casualties.
a lot of fun to possibly do a couple of themed episodes, and one of them specifically, you've done a good job of on your blog, Damn Good Coffee and Hot.
Thanks for the plug.
Uh, yes, of when the mainstream, I won't say media, but when another show has a doctor reference.
Hmm.
And I think that would be kind of a fun discussion
Oh yeah,
to pull that together and then kind of talk about that a little bit and discuss,
like
you know,
Criminal Minds or The Big Bang Theory or what have you.
yes.
So
Yeah, and the community with the whole inspector,
yeah,
you
Space Time,
know,
Inspector Space
yeah,
Time. What I love
yes.
Inspector Space Time, and so yeah, I'm a big Community fan. I got into it a little late, only in about season 3, but um, I just loved Inspector Space Time. I thought I was just like, this is awesome. You're setting up Doctor Who on a sitcom. This is great.
Yes, it is. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. So good. Okay. We are on Twitter at Next Stop SMG, Next Stop Everywhere SMG at gmail.com. I am Jesse Jackson on Facebook. We have the Next Stop Everywhere Facebook page, as Charles talked about. We have not
Like us.
hit 100 likes yet, but please, we want to get there because
Don't let us
both
down.
Charles and I,
Don't let us down, guys.
yes, and
We need your help.
I am at JWJ170104 on Twitter. Charles, how about yourself?
Myself is on Twitter as well at Charles Skaggs. And then also on Facebook, you can find me there, and Instagram and Google Plus, and like Jesse mentioned, my blog, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, which covers Doctor Who, Next Stop Everywhere, and all sorts of geeky things, comics, sci-fi, you name it.
Yes, he really does do the research, so you don't have to.
Yep.
He covers it out. I also want to give a shout out to our niece podcast, Cuckoo for Who. Rob, Martha, Southgate have their adorable daughter on, and they talk Who from their perspective. It is a very nice companion show. It gives a very different thought and a perspective than Charles and I do. So Charles talked about this last time, and I have a coworker that told me that her young son, who's 10, they're redecorating his bedroom to be a Doctor Who bedroom. That the closet is going to be a TARDIS, and they're going to repaint his door so it will be a TARDIS. And I told them about the podcast and sent her the link. I said because I think he would enjoy listening to them talk about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that Cuckoo for Who is great, especially if you have like young children that you watch Doctor Who with, or they just you want something nice to listen to together as a family. I think that's the perfect show.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think we will call it a wrap. I want to say thanks to Charles, thanks to our listeners. Keep hope alive, and remember, there's always something to look at if you open your eyes.
Excellent.
All right, talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.